Hi everyone, welcome back to the show. So today, quite aptly, I am dressed in pink. I think it's fitting. And I'm in front of a thorny bush. So can you guess what the topic might be? So I'm actually going to talk about womb issues and hormonal imbalance today. And I think the pink and the thorns sum up perfectly. So I've been feeling somewhat thorny recently. And I know that a lot of you gals out there and guys will know the experience of this.
The guys will know the experience of it.
So I've got my thorn, the recipient behind the camera today. And yeah, I think it's really important that we talk about this kind of stuff because so many women that I know and in my community and stuff are struggling with hormonal imbalance and basically just the trials of being a woman. Yeah. So we as women are an incredible combination of feeling, we're the feelers of our communities, yes, we feel everything, but also the intuitives, the ones that can like bring through intuitive ideas and bring through nurturing and bring through like leadership in a sort of kind, open-hearted, open-wombed way. And so being the feelers, being the sort of open-hearted, more dynamic, I'm going to say, of the two sexes, and I'm talking real, like not stereotype, but real polarization here today. So just take me with it. I know that we can all be a lot, we can all be many things, but the feminine in itself is that sort of open-hearted, nurturing, spirit-led, earthy, grounded, flowing, that kind of energy. So that also means that we feel all the feels. And biologically, our makeup is 7 very intricately linked. I'm talking about our feminine cycle hormones. So this hormone cycle, I love to talk about this more, and I'm going to do a whole video on the different stages of our monthly cycle. But these hormones create this incredible cycle and they create our flow, our monthly flow, our monthly changes. And we are so different to men in that we have a monthly cycle as opposed to a daily cycle. So I think that's the first thing to mention, because we can often look at the sort of negatives of being hormonal, being emotional, being hysterical, all those words that come up when people think about, women, the angry woman, the sort of PMS woman, the menopausal woman, all those things, hot flushing and hot blooded and all of that. But a lot of those traits are the sort of other side of something very magical. So in order to be someone feeling, in order to be this intricate weaving of hormones that takes us over a monthly cycle, that means we have to change. Yeah, we're not men. We don't just peak in the morning and come down at night, go to bed and peak in the morning again. And I'm not simplifying or poo-pooing the male cycle, but we live in a world that expects us to be like that. So this is when those kind of negative connotations with being in flow, and also how hormonal imbalance comes about. So if you think of us as a monthly cycle, we're meant to sort of go like this in that cycle. Where in the world is that sort of welcomed? Where is it even like accepted? It's not. We're meant to be the same every day of the month as women. You go to work, you do the same things, you're always expected to be on. I talked in my last video about being a superwoman. This comes up for me so much. I see these memes where they're like saying, we're superwomen. And I'm like, no, let's just throw that in the bin. We're not meant to be superwomen. We're meant to be women. And learning this sort of way that we're meant to flow and allowing ourselves to be different each day, each moment, each individual event that comes up in your life, then we give space to realise that we can't do it all. And that isn't failing, because we're not trying to be men and we're not trying to be superwomen. Women are incredible and we have incredible gifts that the modern world doesn't really value, doesn't accept, as I said, doesn't really give space for. So on my womb healing journey, which is kind of what I'm here to talk about, and that's my main, Sean would say, my MO at the moment, because I'm in a womb crisis. I've been in a womb crisis for most of my adult life. And as I delve deeper and deeper into womb healing, I see how this world does not welcome me in being a woman with a healed womb and living in flow. It doesn't. So the first thing for me is, or the first step for me really, was like learning what my cycle looked like. So for those of you that know, you've probably been here before, you might have heard a little bit about this, but I was on the contraceptive pill for a long time because I had some problems when I was a teenager, when I first came onto my period. And in true sort of medical world style, and I'm not knocking the wonders of, you know, Western medicine, it has in some ways, but it fails women. I'm going to say that. It 100% fails women. There is not enough research, there is not enough understanding, and for the most important part is we're looking in the wrong place. Western medicine is not the place to go to heal our wombs. So Western medicine put me in the box of unknown hormonal issues as a teenager, and so I was put onto the pill. And this meant that I then lost my cycle. So I had like a withdrawal bleed on that pill for years, but it's not really a bleed. So I'm not going to go too much into the pill because again, that's going to be a whole other video itself. But that meant that I was basically in womb crisis. Yeah, if you're just covering over your cycle, so we have this amazing cycle, you're just ploughing hormones into yourself, then you are literally stamping that out and telling your body how it should be. And this didn't obviously end well. I came off that pill, or the other pill that I was on after that, and then never got my period back for a long time. So it really, really causes havoc in our womb, in our cycle, and in our brain. So what's really important to know, to understand, is what our cycle could look like, you know, how we can support that. And I'll do a whole video about that. But then as on top of that, so what does that look like? And how do we want to be in the world with a healthy womb? So what does that womb, if we're in womb crisis, what's the opposite of that? So a lot of women I know are in what I would call womb crisis. We're not in a healthy flow, hormonal balance. We've got PMDD, we've got PCOS, we've got POI, all these P words. We've got all this stuff going on with our cycles, and perimenopause that is, you know, completely exacerbated, PMS exacerbated, all again, more P words. And the only place that we have to turn is to the doctor, which puts a plaster over it and gives you some hormones, or puts a coil in you. Oh God, I can't even start on the horrors of the coil, but does that to help. And I know that a lot of these things do help. Like, I've been there myself. I've taken HRT for the POI that I've been, you know, juggling. I've done it. I've taken that. I've taken that plaster to get some ease, and there's nothing wrong with that. But my womb healing journey now is leading me deeper than that. It's leading me to places over the last few years, over the last like 5 or 6 years, of like, where else? What have I got to do? Where do I go to really, really start to heal my womb? I don't want a plaster. I don't want a hysterectomy. I don't, you know, all the things that Western medicine offers, which for some women, great, that's what works for you. But I ask this question: if there was another option, if there was a way for you in whatever you're going through right now, I'm going to fall into the thorn bush. Would you go along that same line? Hi.
Hello.
No,
Hey,
no,
don't
don't
worry.
apologise, please.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're on a path.
We're taking the
We're just using this beautiful
the
backdrop.
footpath.
Yeah.
Have a nice day. Would you take that? Would you take the route that you did? So if I told you now that I could show you there were ways to actually heal your womb, actually get a cycle back that was healthy. So you haven't got PCOS, you're not endlessly bleeding, you haven't got huge cysts on your womb, you haven't got horrific PMS, you haven't got a massive emotional imbalance every month, and you could embrace knowing that you're meant to be in flow and you're meant to be in flux, but you could actually heal yourself. Would you take the pill? Would you have the surgery? And I think for most of the part, the answer would be no. But the fact is, we don't know another way. I have been in absolute desperation, because I really, really want to heal. I want to let my body heal itself. I don't want to be on a pill for the next 20 years until I get to menopause age. I don't want to have my womb removed. I don't want to have a coil fitted. I don't want to have those things that are in the only best way to put it is plastering over it. They're just covering over or suppressing a problem. And the problem is, if we continue to do that, we're just exacerbating it. So I'll use myself as an example. I took the pill for years. In hindsight, if I'd known what I knew now, and somebody like me had been making these videos and I'd seen them, I would not have continued to do that. If a doctor had had the foresight to go, you know what, why are you just taking hormones as a 20-year-old, as a 24-year-old, as a 28-year-old, when you don't know what your fertility is like? Nobody mentioned about egg freezing to me. Nobody, I didn't have any support in any way to look at why was I taking something to just cover over a problem. It's not healing, is it? Like, at the end of the day, if you want to heal something, you have to get to the roots of it. And I think that root word is everything for me. So, on a positive note, there are ways that we can heal our wombs. There are. And I'm on many groups. I'm on primary ovarian insufficiency and failure groups. I'm on PCOS groups. I'm on a lot of groups online, and I hear so many women saying, you cannot heal this. My doctor has said this is unhealable, and I've had doctors say that to me. I've had doctors not have any idea what's wrong with me, and they said to me, yeah, you've got 1% chance of getting pregnant naturally. And you just like, sorry, but you don't even know what's wrong, so don't listen to that. Like, let's just let all that go. I've actually stopped seeing doctors for this reason. I don't see a specialist about things going on for me anymore, because they just tell me the negatives and tell me to go back on the hormones. And I think that when we have so little research in the medical world about women's problems, and it's a lot of the time the source of the issue, how can we then say, with our hand on our heart, there's nothing you can do about that? People cure everything. There are ways to heal everything. So the things that I'm doing, and the things that I would implore you to also do, and invite you to join me on this journey. And I've been down this rabbit hole for many years now, so I will be trying to make videos to share different aspects of the wisdom that I've learned, because I want other people to also come to this wisdom and not feel so alone. So I've been in that desperation phase recently where I'm like, there has to be a way, Like, we need to reawaken these feminine wisdoms. I can't think of a better word, women's wisdom. Like, the wisdom that comes from how we flow, how we live in align with our cycles, how we are in our cycle and we see that as a gift, not as this awful thing that happens to us. Like, I remember when I learned about my period at school, and it was like, oh, this horrible thing is going to happen to you each month, and it's, we're sorry, and you've got to hide it, you do this and you go over there and you make sure nobody sees it and you don't talk about it. And that is just like, please, let's not do that to our teenage girls. Let's talk about it openly. Let's not make them ashamed of what an incredible thing their body does. Their body has a cycle to be able to create a life every month, brings them all this magic and insight, and then does it all over again. And if you can embrace that, I really feel if we taught teenage women, teenage girls, these young, beautiful women coming into that it's an amazing thing. And we taught them how to listen to their bodies, how to slow down at different times each month, when to work out, when to be out in the world, when to hibernate, when to embrace what they need, like ask themselves what do they need, then we would not be as women, as older women, as like 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70-year-old women, we wouldn't be here with these big, huge problems, not having a clue. Because the basis of it is that roots. It's rooting ourselves in, we are a woman and we have a monthly cycle. How can we support that? How can we ask our loved ones around us? So this is the first thing for me. Knowing what that cycle looks like, knowing how to support yourself and how to tell people around you what you need. So take those days when you're on your period, take those quieter days. Be able to ask for support on those days, being asked for quiet time. In the past, we would have gone into red tents in villages when we were on our period. This is the auricular, is that a word? Time of our month, when we would have been completely insightful and intuitive and inward, all those inwards, and we would have been able to give guidance to our villages, to our people, to our families. And we've just forgotten that. We now try and go to the gym when we're on our period. I used to try and work out when I was on my period, and I'd be like, oh my God, I can't do anything, because you're not supposed to be exercising when you're bleeding. I just, with all my heart, I just want to ignite this knowledge again and help us all remember it. So a couple of other things that I'm doing womb connecting meditations. So I'm doing intentional womb healing and womb connecting. So this is something that I will eventually be offering, but it's something that you can start to do. You know, it's simply, I will do a meditation on this to share of something really simple for you to get started, but it's starting to actually really listen to our womb space. I'm starting to get into water more and actually embrace, this is feminine with that water element is our womb. So embracing getting in the bath and getting in the wild waters, getting into nature more, being more barefoot. You know, I love to be barefoot. Also, I think really talking about the problems that we're going through. Because as women, talking to your partners and your loved ones and your family, but as women, if we start to make this stuff, we talk about it, we normalise it, we share, we realise that a lot of other women are having these problems and that we can help each other. I'm on these groups, are absolutely fabulous. You know, people sharing what supplements they use, that they found acupuncture. Acupuncture is another thing for me. You know, please find a reproductive acupuncturist if you're having problems. Absolutely life-changing. Find the things that nourish you. Find the things that, as a woman, help you express you. So for me, it's singing. It's allowing that our vocal cords are linked with our cervix. It's finding pleasure in sex. You know, not just going through the routine or, you know, whatever situation you might be stuck in. I know I've had many women in my line of work come to me and talk about that. We're meant to be pleasure. That kind of pleasure, orgasmic energy, and spreading that through our body, that helps ignite our womb. Think about this space down here as your life force. It doesn't just create babies, it's where our creativity and life force is around our sacral chakra. It's the same for men, but in women even more. Your womb is a sponge of life force and it absorbs all of those things that you go through, but also has all of that incredible life force to spread out through your life. And we just ignore it. For years, when I first came to Tantra, I was literally numb from my solar plexus down. And a lot of that was from traumatic sexual experience. And I know that you women out there are hearing that and you resonate with that. So it's time to come to ways that we can heal that. Womb clearing, listening to your womb, putting boundaries up with who you let into your energy, and I mean your body as well, yeah? So I hope this is inspiring. I hope that some of these practices can help you. I think that the talking about it and finding ways that we can start to reconnect with our womb is really, really key. It's how does our womb feel? How do we feel on this cycle? Can we change our life in little ways so that we don't feel like we have to be the same every day, so that we can honour ourselves as women? For me, that's been the first step. So when I was first told that I likely wouldn't ever get my period again, I did not take that from the doctor. I said, that is absolute bull. You can't give me a reason why that is. And I started doing Tantra yoga and feeling into the energy of my womb through yoga every day. And it's a yoga that I will start to be teaching when I'm back to work, because it honours us as women and men, but particularly our womb space. And I got my period, and I got 2 in a row. And I told the doctor when she had my review, and she said, well, you can delude yourself that that's what you did differently, but the fact of the matter is that's not going to work, and I don't take that. So I'm going to say hello to these people, and I'm going to wrap up. Please do let me know what you think. Please share your stories. I'll just pause for a second. I've still not got to the point where I can be on video and not be embarrassed. Morning. Hi, little
Hello.
doggies. Hi. Yeah, I really hope this was helpful, and thank you all for being here. Thank you for being the women in my community, and you men that are here as well. I tip my pink woolly hat to you for being here. I know that men come on here and watch and learn to support their partners. I love you for that. Thank you to Sean for being here on the side of the hill with me. So when you're feeling like this thorny bush, because I've been feeling like this thorny bush recently with menopausal symptoms and PMS all mixed into one, which is the joy of what I'm going through at the moment, just give yourself a moment to realise that being this thorny is imbalance. Yes, we're meant to feel, but feeling hysterical and all of that is part of being a woman, but it is a sign of imbalance. And it's basically your body showing you that we're not listening to what we need and what we feel. And don't take shame in that, because we've all been there. We've got hormones surging through our body, but when they're out of balance, it can cause chaos. So please just be gentle with yourself and ask for what you need, and let's heal our wombs together. Okay, see you all soon.